Okay, this is a Comp 3 transmission that's out of the Mega Cab Longbed that we're putting an enforcer motor in. This trans has about 100,000 miles on it since we put a 48 swap in it. And I'm going to go through it and just refresh it because he's going from 750 horsepower up to 1,300 horsepower. Gonna open it up, show you guys what a transmission looks like that's been run at 750 horsepower for 100,000 miles. You can see the pan looks pretty decent, but this is probably 20,000 miles on it. There's always going to be some material down here in the pan because as the clutch materials wear, it's kind of like brake dust. As it sheds dust, it ends up in the pan. So we're going to open this up and show you guys what it looks like. Okay, here we have the original Overdrive clutches I just pulled out of this. They have about 100,000 miles on them. Really happy with how they look, but these are considered a wavy clutch. They actually have a little bit of a wave to them that when the clutch engages, it keeps it from hydroplaning the clutch. And the new clutches that we've been started using these about 2 years ago is the GPZ Overdrive clutch. These actually have sipes cut in them to keep it from hydroplaning. It's a little bit more aggressive clutch. In high horsepower applications, these will hold a little bit better. They won't glaze over. Here you can start seeing a little bit of darkening on the inside of the clutch, which is not bad for the amount of wear and tear that this has been on for 750 horsepower. But I'm just going to switch these out. I'm going to reuse the steels, put GPZs in it, and put it right back in the Overdrive. And we're going to pull the pump out. These are handy little pump pulling tools we made with a bolt and a cutoff push rod. Just makes it easier to pull the pump. This is your pump assembly. And stack this back down on the torque converter. Goes on there somewhere. There we go. I'm gonna pull the forward drum, direct drum out. This is your second gear band. So I'm really happy with the way that looks. We're gonna probably still put a new one in it just because it's got 100,000 miles on it and he's gonna be doubling his horsepower. So let's look at the direct clutch. This is your third gear, which is also engaged in overdrive. When overdrive comes on, the third gear clutch stays on. The overdrive just overdrives third gear. If you're rebuilding the trans anyway, let's put brand new clutches in it. Anytime somebody brings a transmission to us for a complete refresh, we'll use all brand new clutches. But on a situation like this, the customer just wants to know that the transmission's in good shape. So really, I'm just opening it up, checking the clutches. I'm not replacing all the bearings, all the bushings. I'm not doing a normal refresh like we normally would. Basically, he just said, while it's here, check the transmission, make sure it's good. So I'm checking everything, and any updates in clutches or bands that we have, we're going to put it in there. But really, the only thing that we're going to change in this is the overdrive clutch material is changing to the GPZs. I mean, the way this looks, a good used clutch is actually more reliable than a brand new clutch because you know that it's not going to delaminate, it's in good shape. There's no point in replacing it. I'm going to check this clearance on this drum. You can see we've got it at 0. I'll pull the clutch up. See, we've got about 86 thou clearance. When this was new, I can go back over our build sheets, and we've got a build sheet for every time we assemble a transmission. Tells us all our clearances. We were at 75 thou when we're new, so that tells me we've worn this clutch down about 11 thou. But we've got plenty of clutch material left. I'm going to add 10 thou bigger snap ring to get our clearance back to 75 thou and put it right back in the truck. We've got the new snap ring on. You can see we've got about let's center that on 0. Pull that up. About right at 73 thou of clearance. We're going to open the pump up, just make sure, basically we're going to look for any unusual wear and make sure our clearances are still good, and as long as everything's good, put it right back together. I normally run everything through a parts washer, but because I'm just inspecting this, opening it up, just cleaning it up, putting it back together, this pump gear looks perfect. There's no galling, there's no scoring. We're going to pull the outside gear race out and take a look at it, make sure it's good. Otherwise we can clearance it, put it back together, and we'll be ready to roll. Put a little bit of fluid in the pump. Just make sure we have fluid in there. When you start the truck, you don't want it to start dry. Here we can pressure check the direct clutch, so you can hit it with compressed air, and we can tell right away if we have a leak or not. You can see we can hit it. It sounds nice and solid. I got some leak down here at this dysfunctional rubber tip, but you can see that's how the direct clutch engages. Anytime you've got a rolled lip seal in this clutch, you'll hear it. It'll blow a whole mist of fluid out because it'll have that seal rolled over, and it doesn't apply the clutch. It just leaks the air right past the seal. We always double check that before I put it in the truck, just so that I know when fluid hits it, it's good to go. Okay, one thing that we're going to upgrade is we're going to go to a billet forward drum. This is a piece TCS Canada has been making. The main reason that we do this on these trucks is sometimes we see the input shaft start chattering, pulling itself through this OEM forward drum. Now this one's not very bad, but the owner of the truck wants to upgrade the transmission to any available update, so that's why we're going to put the best parts that are available out there, and that's why I'm just pulling this out, changing this forward drum. I'll put it right back together. The forward clutches, these are the forward clutches. You can see they are worn down. They started at 65 thou, and these are down to 56 thou. So I'm going to change these forward clutches. These have 100,000 miles on them, and most of the time if these wear out, these are the clutches that take abuse if you brake boost. So if you put your foot on the brake and the gas and you're building boost at the line, you're waiting for the light to turn green when you got a Mustang beside you, if you stand there for a long time, you will burn those clutches up. So most of the time the forward clutches look absolutely perfect, unless you're brake boosting for a long time, doing a long brake stand, or if you get stuck and you're rocking it back and forth and you're engaging the forward clutch on and off, on and off, on and off, that will tear up the forward clutch as well. We're going to put fresh GPC clutches in it. That's what these look like. These are 65 thou GPZ forward clutches. Put this in this billet forward drum, and we'll be ready to roll. Bring this down here. We have a nice stand, but I'm doing it old school. And now I can pull the reverse drum out and check the reverse drum, the one-way sprag, and stack this back together. That's your reverse band. You can see it looks brand new. It's ready to go back in. Put the intermediate shaft and planetary stack back in. At 53 thousandths clearance. I'm going to try to get that down to 32 thou in play. Okay, we've added 20 thou clearance to the in between the input shaft and the drum. Put this back together. Now we put this back together and we can check clearance again, and we'll be ready to go. Okay, we're going to check end play. We've got the zeroed. You can see I'm at like 31, almost 32 thou, which is perfect. 32 thou.
Alright, today we're finishing up an engine rebuild or replacement where we put a D&J Enforcer long block 6.7 in with a 472 488 side-by-side turbo setup on it. It's got fueling by Exergy. It's got 200% over injectors with a 14 mil street CP3. It's got a Firepunk Comp 3 transmission, and today we are getting ready for first fire. Alright, so we got first fire was successful. We didn't have any major leaks, anything big that we had to fix or go through to make sure that it'll run good. So now the next step is break-in. So I will back it out in the parking lot, set the RPMs at 2,000 RPMs and run it for 5 minutes to seat the rings. And then once we get that break-in process done, then the next process for me will be putting the front end together, adding coolant, and getting it finished up and ready to send out the door. Alright, we got the break-in and the engine done, 5 minutes, no coolant, and what I forgot to mention is the next step. Now I will pull the valve cover off and retorque the head bolts. After we got some heat in it, just to secure that, or to ensure that we don't run into an issue there. It's the best time to retorque the head studs while they're hot. This is what it looks like working on an interior with white powder coated pipes. Always cleaning. Today I'm putting the front end together on this enforcer motor that we installed. Showing Cody's beautiful powder coat. Good work. It looks very nice, hard to keep clean. But we are getting close to getting this thing ready and dynoed, and should be a rowdy truck.
Last night I've been driving this truck to get some miles on it before it goes back to Texas this weekend, and we went out to eat, went to Texas Roadhouse in Hilliard, and somebody decided that they needed the stereo more than we did. So they broke the window, broke the mirror, tore up the dash, getting the stereo out. But it's great fun. So this, I guess, is why you have insurance. But it was a fun phone call telling the customer that his truck got broken into. They also stole a handgun out of the center console. So that is not good, but we filed a police report, and we will have to get this fixed up and get this thing back to Texas. Okay, we made our first dyno poll, and we had a D-rate. So it basically came up full power and then it D-rated. We started looking at the log, and we saw that it went into an OFC D-rate mode. And then on closer inspection, we saw that the map sensor dropped out, went to 0 PSI before that happened. So we're going to change the map sensor, and hopefully that problem goes away and we can dyno this thing. Okay, we've got Edgar Articona's daily driver on the dyno. This is a Mega Cab Longbed, 07.5 truck. Actually, maybe it's an 08. But this is a truck we did an enforcer, deck plate motor, 72/88 twin setup, a 200% over extra G injectors, and a single 14 mil stroker pump, CP3. We did tune 1, we did 754. And tune 5 we have at 1266. It's still got a little bit of rail fluctuation on the top end, so I'm going to dial that out, tune that out, and see if I can't get maybe 1275 out of it. But pretty much got the thing wrapped up. The thing street drives really good. We've actually been daily driving it for the past month. We've got about 1,500 miles on it. This is something that he had another truck to drive, so we put some miles on it, making sure everything's good, no leaks, top to bottom, because we had gone through the engine and transmission, kind of whole new drive line. We want to make sure everything's good before we take it back to Texas to him. So this thing should be ready to rock. It's a big long truck with a lot of horsepower, and it will probably surprise some people on the street every now and then. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this build, and we look forward to doing more in the future.